Welcome back to PJNet Live on Tuesday night, the night we all look forward to for this very occasion, when you get to see the football field. Folks, it's here. It has started, and the man who knows about this and every other sport is with us in our green room. Welcome, everybody. Send a hearty welcome to Del Didway, who's drinking his coffee, and I forget if we have you backwards or forwards this week. We have you backwards. Folks, I'm going to do something a little funny here. Don't be alarmed, okay? Really. It's going to be okay, but we're going to do a little trick here, because if Del holds up one of his props, okay, it would be backwards. So now it is not backwards.
There you go.
The magic of technology. Del, we're not going to talk sports today. You dropped it. Well, I see that you're wearing your patriotic regalia, and
I'm trying to get in focus here.
Just before it was like 9 o'clock. Just a few minutes, thinking, "Gosh, I got to do opening prayer," and I realized, don't tell anybody, I'm wearing the same shirt I was wearing last night. So I dashed inside, grabbed the first shirt that was in the top of the drawer, and it's just stand.
There you go. Not a bad shirt.
Oh, Dale. You uncorked all heaven today in your blog. I hope you have read Del's blog. If you have not, there's where you find it right there. You just go to deldidway.com, and there you will find. But today's blog, every once in a while, this is the kind of thing you write on Thursday afternoon in your editorial piece for the paper. Something grabbed your attention, and you just uncorked it. I guess you couldn't hold it back.
Yeah, and so I did tame it down a little bit. My wife read it, and she said it's very passionate, and so we had to make some adjustments. So I was a little bit more harsh. So I was actually writing a different blog, and just kept coming across stories where the Pledge of Allegiance is under assault. Mm-hmm. And I read 5 or 6 instances just this past month of things that happened. I thought, this is really ludicrous. This is really getting out of hand. The Democrat Party does not exist anymore, folks. It is the liberal socialist mob that's taken over, and they're trying to destroy everything that America stands for. I'm not being dramatic. I'm not being a conspiracy theorist. I'm not being overreaching. It's just the way it is. We're in a battle. The socialist leftist mob wants to destroy everything they can about America. They want to tear down every statue that's out there. They want to get rid of the National Anthem. They want to get rid of everything that's American. And that's what the left socialist mob is up to. And they've slowly infiltrated our governments. They've taken over the media. And they're trying to play on people's emotions and persuade them through empathetic messages that their message should be heard and should be entertained, and that we need to get rid of the Pledge of Allegiance now because it was written by white nationalists. I'm sick and tired. I want to know what person voted for somebody like AOC. I don't think you could find him with a search warrant right now. She's an embarrassment. She's an M&M, and I don't mean a candy. She's a modern moron. And she's in our government. And that's scary because they're placing people throughout the country that way. And it's been a systematic effort that's taken years, but they're getting what they want. They want to take over. They want to get rid of America as we know it. And that's just the way it is.
Del, a couple of things that was unusual this week in reading your blog. One thing is a little bit longer than usual. Number 2, I didn't finish it because I was quite frankly almost sick at my stomach, and I was
wasn't that bad, was it?
the rage that was building up within me. I thought, these people hate America, and somehow somebody elected them
or appointed them. Yeah, and one of the one gentleman who works for the tourism company, tourism bureau, would not recite the pledge. And I read that article, and that writer of the newspaper article said that he loves this country so much. And I thought, there's no way he loves any of it.
No.
If he can't recite the Pledge of Allegiance, he doesn't love this country. He doesn't have any respect for this country. He doesn't have any respect for the people who fought and died for this country. He, we've been tolerant too long, and we need to, as President Trump says, ship these people back. If these folks come in and don't play by the rules, we want them to come in. We want immigrants to come in. Yeah, play by the rules. When we went out of country last year, we had to abide by their rules, and that's fine.
Yeah,
but not here. Just let them in, let them take over, let them destroy California. I was talking to a good friend of mine. I was talking to Becky today, and I was telling her that I may have to come out there. And I said, "Is it as bad as the?" She says, "It's terrible. California is terrible right now." And we were just there 2-3 years ago. It was bad, but wasn't that bad. But now,
and it's a beautiful state with abundance of resources. Yeah. I can remember when we traveled to California in 1974, my father told me if there was one state that could secede from the Union and be okay, that would be California, but not anymore.
That was back when conservatives had control of it. Mm-hmm. They don't now. The last time they voted for a Republican was President Reagan.
Yeah.
And I missed that guy. That was the last time. And look at the condition of that state because of their policy of a sanctuary cities and sanctuary state and open borders. They have ruined, the liberal socialist mob has ruined California. They're getting ready to ruin Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And they want to do it to the entire nation. And so, we can't talk about this stuff. Yes, we can. We cannot put people in office who have a socialist mentality, and we need to get them out of office.
Well, I mean, who hate the country? Two things struck me. One is, if they hate this country, why don't they leave? And two things came to mind. One is, if they left, other countries don't have open borders. They don't just let you in. Number two, if I was another country and someone like that came and wanted to be, I would say, you hate your own country? You ain't coming here to hate ours.
Well, they can't go to Israel. That's for sure.
4 of them can't.
Yeah, and so you have the AOC plus the Three Stooges, mm-hmm. who are we have to vote them out, and Minnesota's got to wake up, and we have terrorists in our government right now, and it's scary. It's a scary thought, and they've taken over the media completely, and I mean that's why I'm surprised some of my articles get posted, because I have a different point of view than most media. So I'm thankful for that, and I get compliments all the time on it, and I get a lot of complaints. But I think you're going to start seeing, back years ago when it was, quote, the moral majority stood up, or the silent majority. Mm-hmm. You're going to see that now. I think Americans have had it. They've put up with it long enough, and they're going to start not fighting back, but pushing back and saying, you know what, this is what this country's founded on. We have the National Anthem. We have the Pledge of Allegiance. If you don't like it, you don't have to say it. Mm-hmm. Just leave. Just get out. Right. I've heard all these, and I'm so sick of Hollywood, and I'm so sick of entertainers. I don't listen to them anymore. If somebody that you like, Coach, said something against America, I would hope you would just say, I'm done with that person. I'm sick. But we have people who still want to go see George Clooney and people like that because he's good looking. But we need to take a stand and say, I'm not watching these trashy people anymore. I'm not watching these hypocrites anymore, and turn them off.
Well, here's what I've done in my own life, Dale. I unsubscribed from Netflix. I canceled my subscription. I now subscribe to PureFlix. Now, I don't spend much time watching entertainment. But if I watch a PureFlix movie once a month, it's worth the subscription price, and I want to support them. Yeah. Number 2, I wear this shirt. I will not buy a Nike product until and unless they apologize. I haven't shaven today. I don't shave on my days off. But when I do shave, I have 2 Gillette razors left. And when those are dull and gone, no more Gillette razors.
Yeah.
Gillette makes a really great deodorant that I don't use anymore. I use Right Guard, and you know what? Works just as well. And I like the name, the Right Guard. We're going to guard against the left. So
we have to.
I won't go to Target anymore. So you say, well, what difference does it make? Well, somebody who has been on our show, Troy Towns in Alabama, said something that I think we need to consider a moment and contemplate the consequences. What if born-again Christians, number one, voted? All of us. That's a lot of us. Mm-hmm. And if there's a candidate who wasn't 100% pro-life, life begins at conception, period, just don't vote for him. Withhold your vote. He said we could literally change the political landscape in this country in just a few years.
Well, yeah, I agree with that totally. We have, we go to a fairly large church from my area, and we have about 600-700 people show up, and I'm amazed at the folks who still don't vote or still won't get involved. And they had this archaic mentality that, we're not supposed to get involved. But by golly, what happened when Roe v. Wade became the law of the land? Mm-hmm. Christians stuck their head in the sands. What happened when prayer was taken out of school? Christians stuck their head in the sands. So we should be the ones voting. We should be the ones involved, running for office, being involved, being elected, going to board meetings. We should be the ones doing that. And when they take that coward mentality that they shouldn't be involved, then they're flat wrong. Period.
Well, we are reaping the bitter harvest of those seeds that were sown. We ran, as you said, and stuck our head in the sand, and it said, "Oh well, we're a 501c3. We can't do politics. It's against the law." Blah blah blah. Meanwhile, the state has adopted atheism and/or paganism as the official state religion because we sat there and did nothing.
Yeah. I was encouraged when the governor of Louisiana recently, who's a Democrat, had enough, and he put out a decree, if you would call it, an order that all the state schools in Louisiana will put back in their lobbies the words "In God We Trust," because he said he's sick of it. He's sick of the ACLU. He's sick of people being offended. And he took a stand, and he's a Democrat, and I'm glad to see it. It's very encouraging. So
there's a similar movement
you're going to start what?
There's a similar movement going on in Alabama, and I think Mississippi. Right. I think they are going to implode from their own foolishness.
They pushed so hard, so fast that the righteous right, is going to stand up and say, "You're no more. We've had it. We're going to put God back in our schools. You're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. We're going to stand for the National Anthem. We're going to put America back where it should be." And that's one of the great things President Trump has done. And there are so-called believers out there who can't stand him. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because Franklin Graham has said President Trump's probably the most encouraging president towards evangelicals. He's 100% pro-life. He's 100% pro-Israel. He's done more to support life than any other president. And he's come out and said Merry Christmas, and he thanked God for everything. So this man is a man Christians should be behind. I wrote a post about 2 years ago about it, and I got mail messages from, quote, Christians who said they can't support this man. I'm like, well, you know what? Why not?
Well, I might have been among them, Dale, because I was among those who just I didn't believe a word he was saying.
Right.
And he was celebrating his pagan lifestyle. He has earned my vote next time. And the way I reconcile that is, one, I was wrong. He has done those things he said he would do. He moved the embassy to Jerusalem. That took courage, my man.
It took guts.
That took guts. And World War III didn't start, He has persuaded me that now I am not electing him as pastor of our church.
No.
Okay.
No, big difference.
But I think that it's and I have had conversations with people, and I hesitate to go into this thing anointed by God and blah blah blah. But I have had to pause because that election night was, in fact, a miracle by everybody's account.
Mm-hmm.
How can one preclude the hand of God in that?
Mm-hmm. Right. So
it was a miracle.
And I'm very confident his reelection can, but we need him we need him 8 more years, actually. So I think you're going to see him reelected easily because of one thing: the polls are showing Biden's going to win. The same polls showed Hillary Clinton's going to win.
Yeah.
That's who the left socialist mob wants, not the Democrats. Again, the Democrat Party's gone, does not exist. It's a socialist mob.
And the only encouragement I can say is that apparently this, in the same way that many conservative Republican evangelicals have stuck their head in the sand, there's probably a lot of moderate Democrats who have allowed their party to be absolutely hijacked by some wacko nutcases.
Mm-hmm. I was in Tim Hortons last week. A gentleman came up to me who I thought was going to kind of get on me because I know he's a Democrat, a lifelong Democrat, and he came up to me and said, "I don't know, our party's gone." He says, "I have to vote for President Trump next time." He said, "And I'm a Democrat." And I said, and he's one of those blue collar, the old, the old Reagan Democrats, the old blue collar Democrats, who they are ashamed of the party and they can't believe where it's gone because. I think the Democrats back then, we had a philosophical difference. I think they wanted to see the best for the country. We just had a different avenue to get there, and they worked together. The group today does not want the best for America. And if anybody supports those folks, you need to re-examine yourself. You need to take a look in the mirror and say, you know what? Am I a Democrat because my dad was or my mom was? Or do I really believe this filth that they're putting out? And look at yourself and say, you know what? The Socialist Party's pro-death, they on every level, abortion, euthanasia, pro-taxes. They are against small business. I don't know one thing the Democrat Party stands for that's good. Not one thing. So.
I'm trying to be quiet because, I produce these promo videos with sound bites. So I'm trying. It's hard, though.
I know so. So anyway, I kept reading these stories about people bashing the Pledge of Allegiance, which is not that long. I looked at it and I said, is there anything offensive in here? I thought, the white nationalists wrote this. This is ridiculous. That's the only argument they have left. AOC, it's all she blathers about and spews out as white nationalist. I bet she doesn't even know what one is. She was a waitress who's now a congresswoman.
All right, well,
who can't put together 4 sentences.
Let me ask you something. If Adolf Hitler wrote something and it was good, is it good or bad?
Yeah, that's a great question. He's said some profound things.
Well, actually,
quotes.
If you will observe history objectively, he did a lot of good for Germany. Initially.
At first
initially,
he had some.
He put Germany back to work. Germany was in a bad way, and he lifted Germany out of absolute abject poverty. And now, I'm not praising Hitler. My point in all this is, I don't care if Bugs Bunny wrote the national anthem. It's good.
It's good.
Let's observe. Let's evaluate the merit of the national anthem based on the words in the national anthem. Wouldn't that be a reasonable proposition?
Yeah, it would be. And, when you go back and look at history, they all demonize the Ku Klux Klan, which I do too, which, Senator Robert Byrd, who was a well-established Democrat, was one of the grand wizards in the Ku Klux Klan. So, but the group Antifa today, the socialist liberals will not condemn that group. It's basically the same thing. But they won't condemn that hateful group because they're socialist liberals. So, and they all stick together. So that's the
there's something to be said for sticking together, folks. I'm a coach. I believe in teamwork, and I'm glad to see. Gosh, Del, you'll need to go log in and just read the chat. I mean, you are being applauded effusively.
You brought up Adolf Hitler. He had a very profound quote, and I can't recall it specifically word for word, but he said, "If you want to take over a country, disarm its citizens." What does the liberal left mob want to do to our guns? Well, they want to take them away from us. We're not getting my guns.
I've studied a lot of history, folks, and you have to study it with sort of a scientific, cold-blooded, detach yourself emotionally from it. But Hitler literally instituted things like Hitler Youth. That was a function of the state. Okay, they had camps where, well, the SS, one of the privileges of being an SS officer is you would get weekends at the beach, and prostitutes would be hired by the state to have babies. Those babies became wards of the state, literally. He was raising a generation of state warded. I mean, this is evil beyond belief. You know, you think about the obvious evil of killing all of these Jews. That's obvious. But, folks, that was just the beginning. Would that been allowed to continue, we'd all be, by the way, we'd all be driving a Volkswagen, because Hitler promised every family a car, and if he'd have won the war, he'd have done it. He would have done it.
And who stopped him? The United States.
Well, basically, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And we took too long to get in it. Speaking of too long, on a lighter note, what's coming up next week? You got a busy schedule.
I do have a busy schedule. I had a busy schedule last weekend. It was fantastic. We had a blast. We were down in Nashville for a big book expo, International Book Expo. Tomorrow, I'm not going to do a whole lot. Thursday, I'm going down to Cincinnati for the Bengals preseason game. Friday, I will be doing my first high school football game on radio.
Yes!
I know.
Man, I'm proud of you, man.
And then Saturday we'll be in one of the largest little parades throughout the state of Ohio in our little hometown. We'll be walking with a couple of candidates, so we're looking forward to that on Saturday. So that would be a busy upcoming weekend, but we're looking forward to it, and it's always fun.
You are one boring individual, Dale. I don't know what you do. You need to go find something interesting to do. Dale, thanks, man. Thank you for all you're doing, Dale. First down devotion. Hey, you know what I did? I never read the copy I ordered. I gave it to a brother who has it. He's a bookworm, and I met with him, and I'll be meeting with him again. Mark Winchester. Some of you have heard me mention him on this program, and he's always getting ready to do something. So I spent an afternoon. Just talking with him over a cup of coffee and really challenged him. And it seems like the past few days, the Lord has just blessed me with opportunities to talk to people. And one, I've had to throttle back, Dale. I mean, you know how you get? I've really had to throttle back because I'm not enjoying life. I'm trying to do too much. And some of the things, I said, for several days, in fact a week, I think, after that writers conference, I said, I'm still trying to process this. Dale, I'm not processing this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to handle all that God's poured in my lap. It's just great. The reverberations, I guess I'm saying I'm trying to get over it. That was, a week or so ago. Sure, but no, I haven't moved on. I'm still immersed in what happened that weekend.
There's more to come. We have Ohio coming up in a couple of weeks, too. So,
I thought that was in November.
It's in November, yeah. So,
yeah, I need those dates because anyway. All right, well, Dale, you are obviously a very busy guy, and for you to take your time out to come join us and encourage and motivate us and inspire, appreciate you taking your time to do that, Dale. And we love you.
Everybody being on.
We want to encourage you as you encourage us, Dale. You're a real friend of the ministry here at PJNet Live, and I appreciate you, bro.
Well, thanks for everybody for hopping on too. I'll go in and try to see the chats.
There you go. All right, folks, Dale Didway. I did pretty good there. Only went a few minutes over. We're getting better. I hear you. Let me make a brief announcement. Tomorrow night is the first PJNet Live doubleheader. We will have, as usual, Michelle Medlock-Adams at about 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And as soon as she gets off, we'll do one, maybe two videos. And we have another Michelle coming on for live. That'll be around 10 p.m. And I can pronounce her name. It's like Bangson or something. It's not pronounced like it's spelled. Sort of like Duduit, or it's not spelled like it's pronounced. She has an amazing book and an amazing story. Folks, we're going to have a lot of authors coming on here in the near future. I also had the privilege to speak with Doug Carter this afternoon. We're going to have a lot of authors coming on here, but this is not going to be like so many shows that it's just a disguise to sell their book. Okay, I want them to sell their books. We need to be supportive of their work. However, the inspiration for the book is far more interesting than the book, because that's what's inside them. I heard this told one, Troy Town said it on this program, and I believe it. I'm not a writer, but listen to this. I believe that there is a book inside of every person that just sometimes never gets written. Maybe there's more writers out there than we think. PJNet Live will continue. Hang in there. Glad to see you. Thanks for joining us.